Ghazali, clearly we've come a long way from the India Out campaign. Take us through why Mr. Modi's Maldives visit matters.
It's very significant. The first and foremost and very evident that why it is significant is its geolocation. It lies near the Indian Ocean region. It offers key naval shipping areas and connectivity to India to get energy supplies, to get other supplies till Japan. And we have seen that how Chinese influence was growing in Maldives. China was providing aid to Maldives, and that's kind of a debt aid diplomacy, which we know that how China first provides the aid, monetary aid, then you get into that debt cycle, and that you are indebted to China, and then China starts building up infrastructure in your region. But what Maldives has also realized since Mohammad Muizzu came into power on an India Out campaign asking the Indian troops to be removed out of Maldives, but later he realized that since he came to power, India has sent millions of dollars as aid to Maldives, and it has carried out most of the infrastructure projects, be it schools, parks, hospitals, for drinking water, building infrastructure for public. These are some of the projects which are inaugurated earlier as well by our External Affairs Minister, Mr. Dr. Jaishankar, and now Prime Minister Modi is there. This is a very high-profile visit because for the first time in this particular term after coming to power here in India, Prime Minister Modi is in Maldives. He was the one who invited Mr. Muizzu, despite him coming to power on an anti-India campaign. Mr. Muizzu was invited to Prime Minister's swearing-in ceremony last year, and after that he has paid 2 visits to India, one during the swearing-in ceremony and one last year. And in the last 6 months or so, at least in this year, there has been multiple high-profile visits to Maldives as well. We have got multiple joint cooperation meetings, bodies which have been meeting here in Delhi as well as in Male. So from that point of view, it has been a very long turnaround that somebody who came into power on an anti-India campaign was invited to Prime Minister's swearing in here, and then Prime Minister also congratulated him. He was first among the few leaders who had congratulated Mr. Muizzu for assuming power in Male. So from that perspective, it is very significant. Prime Minister has also spoken about that how our entire policy of Mahasagar, that holistic approach of taking everyone along in the Indian Ocean region, be it the Act East policy, neighborhood first policy, Maldives fits in all these policies, and that is why the relations between the two countries is very significant. And India has never left Maldives or abandoned Maldives despite the hostilities shown by Mr. Muizzu or even his cabinet ministers, and it seems like that everything is moving towards a positive direction. All those rhetoric, all those ugly comments have subsided, and Maldives have realized that be it Pakistan or China or anybody in the neighborhood, it is India as a big brother who will always pull them out of the crisis. And their own former ministers, their own cabinet ministers have realized it, that in the last 1 year since Mr. Muizzu has come to power, India has always stood for Maldives, be it for their economic crisis, be pulling them out of any other calamity, natural crisis, anything of that sort. India has always stood with Maldives without demanding anything.
Right. Meanwhile, tourists from India are down 50% since 2024, Ghazali. We are given to understand that Maldives is pinning their hopes on Prime Minister Modi's trip to bring the tourists back. But what do we know about the tangible steps Prime Minister Modi will take in order to reset ties with Maldives? There's something about the trade pact. There's also some whispers about UPI and more.
Remember earlier this year when Prime Minister was in Mauritius, he spoke about there were MOUs which were signed about how to sort of track and monitor the naval waters or the water bodies, let's say the Indian Ocean region in this particular region between the two countries. A similar kind of steps and negotiations will happen when the Prime Minister will meet with other officials, with Mr. Muizzu and other counterparts in Maldives. And you rightly pointed out, tourism became one of those issues which led to the entire dispute between India and Maldives. Indians started boycotting Maldives when it when it mattered to visit Maldives. Their ratings went down. They suffered losses as well, economic losses as well. This is something, this bid from Maldives is also to revive those ties, to sort of insulate itself from all those losses, get back the relations on track, and perhaps this visit is a big shift, is a big signal when Prime Minister himself is visiting Maldives, that too, that he has been invited as guest of honor for their Independence Day today. So that shows that both sides have reset their ties, and a lot has gone into it. Our own diplomatic team, be it the External Affairs Ministry, our embassy in Male, they have all worked towards it. So in the last 1 year, if you see, our External Affairs Minister has been there, and their External Affairs Minister have visited at least twice to India. They have been part of multiple multilateral engagements as well. So from that perspective, it is now from here onwards, perhaps both India and Maldives are looking for a positive tilt in their diplomacy, relations, and also when it comes to trade ties, maritime security, and how India, being a big brother, it always provided Maldives all that assistance, be it was the vaccine Matri during the COVID times or even later.
Right. In fact, these are live visuals coming in from Male at the moment as the Prime Minister touches down in the Maldives on a short visit. He's only expected to be there until tomorrow, the 26th. Meanwhile, Ghazali, our Prime Minister is also set to inaugurate some infrastructure projects that are India assisted.
See, this is also a part of our diplomacy that we have learnt it from Bangladesh as well, that we are not friends with one particular ruler or government. That is why we carry out these public infrastructure projects, because the people-to-people exchange is something which is part of our soft diplomacy, but a very important part of our diplomacy. That is why you will see, be it parks, school, drinking water facilities, drainage facilities, these are all public related infrastructure which India has been contributing to, and this is why we saw that happening in Mauritius, one of our key neighborhood partners. This is why even that will be inaugurated by the Prime Minister in Mauritius, in Maldives today. Sorry, not Mauritius. So yes, and that shows the kind of attachment India puts through when it comes to public infrastructure project. That we are not just friends with the government. We are carrying out this public infrastructure project. We are contributing to all those projects in order for the welfare, in order to ensure the welfare of Maldivian public there. That builds a goodwill which goes in the long run for India, because you remember what happened in Bangladesh when Sheikh Hasina was ousted. There was an anti-India campaign on their streets as well, on the streets of Dhaka. People, without realizing, started blaming India for what happened to Sheikh Hasina or what she was doing there. So learning from that aspect, we are carrying out these public projects. We are contributing monetarily to millions of dollars have been sent to Maldives in the last 1 year itself. So keeping that in view, the changing landscape, political landscape, we had seen that thing happening in Sri Lanka, an uprising there. We saw that in Bangladesh. We saw Mr. Muizu coming to power on an anti-India campaign in Maldives. Yet our public infrastructure projects, yet our contribution to the state of Maldives has always been consistent, and we have always stood for Maldives in that regard.
Yes, indeed. In fact, as Ghazali is reporting, multiple MOUs are also expected to be signed during this trip, which is seen as significant, as Mohammad Ghazali is emphasizing, in resetting ties that had strained after Mr. Muizu, known for his pro-China leanings, took office in November 2023. Ghazali, in terms of the plan of action today for our Prime Minister, can you take our viewers through what's lined up for him today and tomorrow?
The Prime Minister is expected to, he has already arrived, and from here he will be meeting Mr. Muizu maybe in the afternoon at around 2 or 3 p.m. Then there will be delegation level talks where the Prime Minister with his cabinet, some of the cabinet ministers or officials from different ministries will be there from both sides, and that is where the MOUs will be signed. After that, after the delegation level talks, we have the exchange of MOUs on different sectors, and then there will be virtual inauguration of projects as well. The inauguration, the exchange of MOUs is something which is very important, as you were pointing out. That DPI, the digital or DIP, digital infrastructure project, or be it about what we call the UPI payment thing, UPI gateway. This is something on these two issues India has always been stressing upon, and that has become a key feature of our diplomacy, that we extend these kind of facilities to these governments. These governments imply or sort of apply and sort of adopt these technologies in their own banking sectors, which helps our citizens when they go over there in multiple transactions. So this is one issue, or we'll say one topic of exchange when it comes to MOU. MOU or one project of MOU. But very key projects which I think our MOU will be signed about, which could be about financial fugitives, which could be about digital piracy, which could be about how the investigative agencies of both countries will collaborate together to ensure that there are no piracy. You have these maritime attacks happening over there. So that is checked. Piracy is checked. Supply of drugs is checked, because all this maritime link and connectivity is misused for supplying drugs and all. So that could also be one of the issues of MOU. And also how India has been extending this kind of support to our young countries there by opening up institutions, colleges, training their public servant officers. This is all what India has been assisting Maldives in the last a couple of years, that their civil servant officers, their public officers are brought in here, either trained here, or our embassy in Maldives are training their officers. So these kind of exchanges will be highlighted, and much more whenever Prime Minister visits a country, there are multiple sectors, be it green energy, clean energy, biofuel alliance. These kind of exchanges and alliances may be announced when it comes to energy sector, when it comes to emerging technology, because Prime Minister has been talking a lot about artificial intelligence, emerging technologies. So these will be the issues perhaps on which both the leaders will talk about.
In fact, I must inform our viewers, Ghazali, that New Delhi has seen nearly half a dozen ministerial level visits from the Maldives in the first 6 months of this year, and now our Prime Minister has touched down in Male. Ghazali, as you were reporting, the two sides are also likely to agree on the terms of reference for the free trade agreement that is currently under negotiation?
This is under negotiations, Parma. So maybe we will have a brief announcement either from the Prime Minister's office of either side, or we'll have our Foreign Secretary briefing there. Sorry. So we will have certain kind of announcements in that regard also. But the focus of this meeting or the MOU's exchange will be certainly on the maritime security. That is one, because Mauritius, as I earlier pointed out, that it has its own geolocation is something which is very strategic, and India will not like to have a country in our neighborhood in the Indian Ocean region being dominated or being under the influence of any other country. We have seen hostilities happening in our neighborhood, be it Bangladesh or be it China, we have in Pakistan. So we don't want unsettled neighbors, and that is why we want stability in the region. Prime Minister has always spoken about it, that peace and stability in the region is more important than fostering relations. Before you have stability in the region, in the neighborhood, then only you can extend your hands of friendship, then only you can extend your hands for assistance. Afghanistan being one of the example. We don't recognize the government of Taliban on record like that, but we have been assisting people in Afghanistan with multiple projects happening there in a similar way. Here we have diplomatic relations. Here our relations are changing in the last 1 year. So the focus is to build it more strong. So in every sector where India can assist Maldives, India will be there to assist them, and that is what India has been doing for many, many years. And the result is that just last year when Mr. Moizu came to power, the experts and the critics had started calling it off that Mr. Moizu or Maldives is now getting into Chinese lap. But you see there, Prime Minister Modi is the guest of honor for the Republic, for the Maldivian Independence Day celebrations there. So that is something that shows that how diplomacy works with no noises. Back channel talks keep happening. Our monetary assistance keeps getting to Maldives. We keep assisting Maldives in different sectors, and this is the result today, that their government have invited Prime Minister Modi as guest of honor.
Indeed, in fact, through the visuals coming in, that hug that Prime Minister Modi and President Moizu have shared, that's playing out on our screens. Take a look at the difference in body language as well. We have come a long way from the India Out campaign, as these visuals clearly show. But prior to Prime Minister Modi, former Sri Lankan President Mr. Sirisena and former Prime Minister of Pakistan Nawaz Sharif have participated as guests of honor in the Maldives Independence Day events back in 2015 and 2017 respectively. Ghazali, a busy schedule for our Prime Minister tomorrow as he graces the occasion in Male as a chief guest?
Yes, even for the Independence Day celebrations, what I can see in the list of events which is happening is that the national flag raising ceremony will be held at Republic Square. Then at 4:15 p.m. in the evening time, at around 5 p.m. here in India, sports and cultural activities will be taking place at the same square, and the official ceremony to mark the Independence Day will start at around 8:30 p.m. So besides these MOUs exchange program, or besides the press conference, besides the meeting with Mr. Moizu when he will be hosting Prime Minister for a dinner at banquet hall, all these events will be there where the Prime Minister may show his presence. But before that, before the MOUs are exchanged, Prime Minister will also be inaugurating those public infrastructure projects we discussed about virtually, because there are hospitals, parks, schools and multiple other projects which are at different locations in the country. It's a short trip by the Prime Minister because he will be leaving tomorrow. So after during the course of the day, he will be inaugurating those projects virtually, and will be meeting Mr. Moizu. The talks will have to see that what new announcements are made, because these infrastructure projects, be it about the digital payment initiative DPI, or the maritime security. This is well known that the talks will largely focus around these areas, but we are also expecting that there could be something related to tourism, because that was one issue which had led to a kind of which sort of hit our relations between India and Maldives, which took the relations, it got hit earlier this year or last year, before the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, came to power here in India. So all those ties have to be reset. So all these sectors will also come in focus. And besides maritime security, trade and investment will also be one major point of discussion when the two sides meet today.